Hey gang, what's up? Just Aaron right here, Canadian Looney, and we've got some of the great loonies in the room tonight. Oh my goodness, we've got a full panel. We've got our girl, Patty Zada, welcome. And we've got our man, Captain Kirk, always in the chair, Mr. Pickles. Not too much. We've got some great videos to watch. This is the first part of question period from this afternoon. We're going to take a peek at that and see what you guys think. But what went down here? Here we go. Oh, God darn. So, here. This is definitely worth looking at.
Or 2 million people at the food bank because the government is refusing to respect your ruling to turn over evidence in the criminal investigation of the latest Liberal scandal. At issue is that Liberal appointees directed $400 million to companies they own involving 184 conflicts of interest, according to the Auditor General. Why is the Prime Minister breaking your ruling to cover up criminal evidence in the latest Liberal scandal?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, the Leader of the Opposition is negating to tell the whole truth to Canadians, because what the Conservatives are doing are trying to use the extraordinary powers of this place to circumvent the judicial requirement of police to protect the charter rights of Canadians. Now, I want to believe that the Leader of the Opposition doesn't understand what he's doing, but I'm even more concerned that he does understand, and the charter rights of Canadians are not important to him.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
It should be no surprise that Liberals believe that white-collar criminals can hand over $400 million to their own companies, because we see the case of the dirtbag Tibor Organo, who shot a police officer in the stomach yesterday while he was out on bail after having been arrested for 24 offenses he committed while he was out on probation. So let's get this straight. He's out on probation for many crimes. He gets arrested for violating probation, so he gets released on bail and shoots a police officer. When will this government finally accept that their hug-a-thug, catch-and-release system is putting our people at risk?
All right. So, Mr. Pickles, I'm sure you have something to say about that.
So she goes into about Charter of Rights, right? I mean, are you serious?
I'll be right back.
Serious?
Oh.
No. The Liberals froze the bank accounts of how many people and ruined their lives, trampled people with horses. The Emergencies Act was illegal. I mean, I can't stand Ghoul, man. Like, she is like the rest of them, I suppose. You know, are they all narcissists? I mean, do you get that many narcissists in a room together? Is that prereq for the job?
What do they talk about? What do they talk about? Like, if they're all so into the, oh my goodness.
So you got nothing to say about that cop that got shot in the gut? You're just going on to about how he's trying to
like and then talk over or condescend.
If you gave a shit, that would have been the first thing out of your mouth. Is like, I hope the cop's okay. You know?
No, that poor Karina Gould really is a zombie, like, or a vampire, something like this. Is she one of your favorites, Captain Kirk? Like, how do you feel about Karina Gould when she's talking to you as a Canadian?
I have a hard time believing that she believes what she's saying. Some of the most ludicrous things are coming out. A lot of disinformation she spreads, as far as I'm concerned. Boy, she could keep a fact checker very busy for a long time.
man, she's one of the, well, in my opinion, the worst. Which would lead me to Patty. What do you think that Karina Gould, what do you think is up with that lady? Like, what would you,
Well-
how would you explain her?
I have no words because I don't know, man. She's right up there with Freeland as far as I'm concerned. I can't even anymore. Like, tell some more lies, whatever. Keep blabbing. Nobody listens to you, and nobody believes you either. So keep going.
I'd say she's probably the most talented one that she can like bold face lie to your face and have this fake fucking smile on the entire time.
She, like,
Yeah,
the
they're all
thing
good
about
at
it
that.
is, the thing, I think, this is what I think. I think the Liberals don't want Canadians watching and would prefer just not people being informed or catching up because it's going to hurt their chances, right? Because if you watch the politics, it's pretty hard to deny, like, there's something going on. And so they don't want you to watch the politics. So they put Karina Gould in there to shut it down. Because it's like, I'm going to turn the channel. Because, like, she speaks in this such a... I can't even do it.
I know.
I can't even, like, make my voice that flat.
Yes.
Anyhow, we're going to get back to the show, guys. We'll watch a few more minutes and watch Pierre's struggle here. Might take us a second to get back to the spot we were at. Here we are. Oh,
Doesn't understand what he's doing, but I'm even more concerned that he does understand and the charter rights of Canadians are not important to him.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
It should be no surprise that Liberals believe that white-collar criminals can hand over $400 million to their own companies because we see the case of the dirtbag Tibor Organo, who shot a police officer in the stomach yesterday while he was out on bail after having been arrested for 24 offenses he committed while he was out on probation. So let's get this straight. He's out on probation for many crimes. He gets arrested for violating probation, so he gets released on bail and shoots a police officer. When will this government finally accept that their hug-a-thug, catch-and-release system is putting our people at risk?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our hearts go out to the police officer because no police officer should be hurt in the line of duty. But Mr. Speaker, what is extremely concerning is what the Leader of the Opposition is doing in this House today, where he is trampling the charter rights of Canadians. Whether it is in this House, whether it is outside, Canadians need to be extremely alarmed about the fact that when it comes to their rights, his first instinct is to trample over them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I think you have a charter right to get released after 24 offenses while you're already on probation and shoot a police officer in the stomach. I'm more worried about the charter rights of the police officer who's recovering from the gunshot. This is what the police officer said. Almost everyone we arrest is out on bail. No one stays in jail where they belong. The city and the feds just don't care. It just doesn't bother them. It doesn't matter how many die and if a cop gets shot.
That's right.
What's wrong with you people?
Nice.
all right. So we're back. Let's discuss that.
Oh my.
How does that make you feel up there, Mrs. Patty?
Well, he's right. What is wrong with them? Well, we all know what's wrong with them. They don't have a brain cell between them, so.
Hard to watch. Mr. Pickles, your thoughts?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, like it's who's trampling whose charter of rights here? Who's the one that's abusing Canadians? Like, I don't think that they ever really thought that they would have such an audience now as they do watching what happens in the House of Commons every single day, because the media is really shit the bed. Nobody trusts any of them anymore, and we all get to see all this bullshit until their censorship bills finally pass, right? And now you can see why there's such a rush to get those things ran through Senate. Like Canadians ain't stupid, man. We see what you're doing. And you want us to believe these polls are anywhere close to what you say they are? Not a chance, man.
No.
I literally, I don't run into anybody that's like, oh, I love the Liberals. They're doing a great job. Man, that NDP, but the pink top peewee, that's the guy for me. Like,
Oh,
no.
God.
Captain Kirk, what do you think? Like, are the Liberals just kind of running out of time? Like, more people are becoming aware of what's going on? Like, or are they gonna like kind of dupe us over? What's gonna happen, do you think?
I think Mr. Pickles are right. A lot of people are waking up. If they're not on live streams like this, they're certainly watching later on. I think they're cluing in that mainstream isn't advising them or informing them as they should. To the point of the catch and release, got to look at the root cause. Why are we releasing these people? Could it be our jails are full? We don't have the capacity to build more for the immigration that has come on board over the last 2 years? Do we have enough judges? Do we have enough infrastructure to handle these folks? So is it just easier to bail them back out on the street rather than house them as they should be? I'm wondering.
I think you're right, Kirk.
I think it's organized chaos. We're all too busy, with this other bullshit, right, to notice what's going on. I mean, why are you letting these people out? 4,000 arrests for the same 60 people in BC last year. It's crazy.
God.
And,
well, you would do it if your jails were full and you had to build 2 more and you didn't have the funds. You'd punt them out. Gone. Next problem.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't see that. I see it's just organized chaos, man. Right? They're just putting these people back out there and try and rip this country down as best as they can.
Yeah.
For the life of me, over the last 3 years, like I can't see any benefit that the Liberal government has actually given to Canadians. Like this place is a shithole now.
Oh, I'm not disputing you on that fact at all. It's a desperate place to be in right now. I don't know. That's the only logical explanation that I can come up with. Is we just don't have the capacity to house these people.
Obviously, you guys are forgetting about your carbon tax rebate.
Yeah.
8 out of 10 families get more money back in their carbon tax rebate than they pay in the carbon. 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
You're a shit disturber is what you are, Aaron. Right. And you want to talk about, I can't remember when it was the catch and release bail reform. It's a number of years ago. But, why? So let's play the blame game here. Like who brought that bill about? It was the Liberals. And then so now when something like this comes up, you got that piece of shit Varani that stands up and he starts talking about how it's the provincial government's problem. No, man, you guys made the bill. Like you instructed the judges, and the magistrates to let these people go. Like, so what's a crime that they even hold you for anymore? I remember in Lumbee, BC, 6-7 months ago, like this guy killed his wife and they had him dead to rights. They locked him up and he was out in time for dinner. And then, so yeah, he's killed her. I mean, the evidence is showing that or whatever is going through the court system. But I mean, he could have went and killed the ex-husband or the husband that she had, right? The kids. Lumbee's a small place. I mean, so if you're letting a murderer out, like where do you draw the line? Like you're not protecting anybody anymore.
They don't seem to be.
Again, I believe that's all by design. It's all by design.
Yeah, it looks that way, Mr. Pickles, and it's a mighty sick mind that thinks this stuff up to sow discontent within the public, within our Canadian people. It's very sick.
There's no deterrent anymore. There's just no deterrent.
I give him an out with the excuse that the jails are full, but that only goes so far. The flip side is, yeah, this is all done by design and on purpose. It's pretty easy to connect the dots, really.
Sure
The
is.
blame game, right? Like Varani, you're the minister of justice, and then this is what you got. You got the balls to stand up today and say it's the province's problems.
Patty,
Like
Patty, what do you think about Arif Varani, our Attorney General, Minister of Justice?
Yeah, no.
He wears a suit.
He's as arrogant as
he
you
has
can
like
get.
a superhero suit that he wears
They all
because he's the
think that they're-
Minister of Justice. Like,
Yeah, whatever. You know, I don't like any of them, but
he's another foreign-born MP,
Exactly.
and I think that's
Right up there
probably
with Cled. Like,
one of the
Yeah.
right
biggest
in the
problems
face.
that we have. I mean, like, you don't have Canadians sitting in those chairs, man. You've got like just dual citizenships and people
know.
that were, permanent residents that got their citizenships and shit, and they got allegiances elsewhere besides Canada.
Yeah,
And you got these people making laws, and it's such a train wreck.
yeah, it is.
all right, we're gonna jump back into a video here, guys. This is gonna be like we're starting off with. This is gonna be a lot of Karina Gould, like Speaker of the House.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, sorry.
Okay.
No, she's
Let
the
her
one.
burn.
She's the one dodging the answers or doing whatever. But there's a lot of her here in a short period of time, like in context. Like it's all going to be in order, and man, she's a tough one to take. Like, whew.
Yeah,
I'll listen to her over, like, say, Pigland, and I fucking thought I heard her this morning shriek, right? But I didn't see her today.
No,
I
Right,
can't
like,
stomach
so
her
which is
either.
the worst
she
one?
was there today. Like, oh, good answer.
I can't stomach
oh,
her
good
either,
answer.
Mr. Pickles. She makes me
Yeah,
sick.
like I thought I heard some oinking in the background,
No,
but I
she's
didn't
there.
She
actually
needs to
see
go
her.
sit out her trough there, that fat sow.
Oh, no,
No.
it's awful, Patty, man. I think that, like, Karina Gould might be, again, I've got a few of them that really, like, when I see them, I'm like, it just gets me. Like,
Every one of them gets me, but
None.
I hate more than others. Clyd's right up there with her. I can't stand neither one of them. Nor
Again-
Freakland neither.
again, like,
Ugh.
I'm the same that some, like, raise my temperature more than others. Clede doesn't really get me. She's so transparent, but
Ay, ay, ay,
there's
ay.
other ones like Brenda Shanahan,
No, yeah,
Oh
she's
my
with
God.
Clyd too with me.
like
I can't go
Arif
her either.
Irani, like
Mhm.
just squeezes my brain. Arif Irani, you are a dirtbag. Like Mark Holland,
Oh yeah,
like,
Miller. Mark Miller's another one I'd like to.
Takes a special kind of loser to wear a bow tie, right? I
Oh
mean, that's
my
enough said
God.
right
No,
there.
right
Yeah.
there says a lot. But Mark Miller is terrible as well, like you say, Patty. The whole cabinet's pretty gross.
They're all bad because
Like-
he picked
like-
them so he could control them. As far as I can.
And I don't dislike
Yes,
them because
Mr. Trudeau. Whatever you say. That's what he picked.
yeah, no, just people that will fall in line. Yeah, for sure.
They're future cannon fodder to be thrown under the bus as required.
Yeah.
You don't want bright people around you if that's what your plan for them is.
That's right.
And I think they know that, Kirk. They're like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll go under the bus. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
for
you're
that
right,
kind of
Aaron.
money, I'd think about it.
would you
What the
though?
heck?
Would you? Like,
Nah, not really. I'd like to sleep at night, but the greedy part of me would look twice at it. The
yeah,
common sense side of me would say it's not worth it.
I don't
these
think
people-
we have anybody that is in this like chat right now that would be like, yeah, no, I would sell out that to that degree for that.
You're gonna see these idiots in the grocery store when this is all done. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't gonna go away. Like,
No,
people are gonna
not
remember
anymore.
like why their life is so fucked up and who did this to them.
Yeah, they'll remember.
Yep.
I
You think
think
Justin
there's-
Trudeau is gonna have a good time after this is done anywhere he goes in Canada?
No.
Not a chance,
no,
man.
Hopefully
look
he'll
what
move away. Maybe
Look
he'll
what
move
happens
away.
to him now. Like he just walks around everywhere. It's just nothing but haters everywhere. Traitor, like, man.
As soon as he can, he's gone. Probably to a country that has non-return policy to Canada.
Maybe he should go to Cuba where his father lives.
Could be. Could be. Anyways, guys, we're gonna drop on another video. Well, this is the next piece. This is like starting out with, again, Andrew Scheer, who is fun to watch.
I like
then
him.
We're gonna see a lot of
I like any
gold
conservative
in this one.
because they got brains. The other ones don't.
Taxes are up, costs are up, crime's up, time's up, and corruption is way up. Here's what we know so far. The Liberals stacked the SDTC board with their close friends. That board makes decisions as to which companies get grants worth millions in tax dollars. The Auditor General uncovered a massive scandal. These Liberal insiders funneled almost $400 million to their own companies. They got rich, taxpayers got the bill. Now the government's refusing to hand over the documents to the RCMP for a potential criminal investigation. So what have they got to hide?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, again, the House
Sit
Leader
down,
for the
sorry.
Conservatives is completely false in what he is stating in this place. What is true is that the Conservatives have put forward a motion that would blur the lines between the independence of the legislative and judicial branches of government. It is both the RCMP and the Auditor General who have raised their extreme concern with what the Conservatives have put forward. Every Canadian should be concerned
Gold
about
sucks.
the fact that the first instinct of Conservatives is to suspend the
Go back
charter
on
rights of
maternity
Canadians.
leave, idiot.
The Honourable Member from Regina Capel.
The charter is there to protect the people from the government, not to protect the government from accountability by the people. Well, millions of Canadians are suffering from higher taxes, higher prices, and doubled housing costs, all caused by this government. The Speaker has ordered that the House of Commons can deal with no other business until this corruption motion is dealt with, and they still won't hand over the documents, preferring that Parliament grind to a halt. While millions of Canadians are lining up for food banks, Liberal insiders are lining their own pockets. So when will the government hand over the documents, and when will the government get Canadians their tax dollars back?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Sit down, you bitch. Sorry. I'm sorry. You guys
Say
should
Patty.
You guys should
Hey,
hear me
Patty.
when I'm on chat. Oh my God.
Patty, don't sit on the fence, huh?
No. I know. Tell me how you really feel. I know. I can't even anymore.
I know it's hard to take.
I don't know how. Well, I said that to Mr. Barrett when I went to Pierre's rally. When I met Michael Barrett, I said, I don't know how you can sit across the way from them without walking over and punching one of them right in the mouth. And all he said, just vote for us. I said, oh, don't worry, I'm going to.
Yeah.
But they can't really say a lot,
absolutely.
right? They can't. I mean, they never stoop to the level of the Liberals,
No.
let's face it.
Oh, no,
Oh,
they've
the
got a little
name
more
calling.
class.
Who's calling names? The only one I hear calling names is they put Poilievre down all the time. You jealous? Maybe you could learn a few things from him.
Well, you resort to calling names when you've run out of other intelligent
Exactly,
things
and
to
that's
say.
all they got right now because they're caught with
Yeah.
this scandal. And yes, I heard that was it on the news? Fungus Fergus there, he had no choice but to halt.
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I enjoy like giving funny nicknames, like
Well, that's what I call him because that's what he is.
Like to all the politicians. I don't mean it like like only the Liberals. I like doing that.
Yes.
Like no, you know. So I can't be too hypocritical about name calling.
No.
It's
We all
just,
do it.
We're not
it's
sitting in
just that-
Parliament.
We're
And I'm
not
pretty
sitting
sure
in
all of
Parliament.
us like to make the names, right? I mean, you got what, Welfare Bobby Lee, and you got Timu, fucking Dan Aykroyd, and, Black Permits. I mean, it's on and on, right? Christian a fucking pig land. I mean, I do it too. I'm sure everybody does.
Well,
Good
I
for
guess
you.
I guess Kirk, Mr. Pickles had a couple of nicknames up his sleeve.
Oh, do tell.
Man, it's shift gears. Like these things just pop in my head when I see it, right?
I know.
You know, but what Scheer says here, right? I mean, like the Charter of Rights, it's to protect us. It's not to protect the government.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
back in the
fun.
day,
Then what
like,
is
can
she
you imagine
talking about?
when the-
Polyev
when-
going against our Charter of Rights. What are you talking about?
They're just spinning
Like,
it.
that's insane to me.
I haven't seen him trample anybody with a horse or lock people out of their bank accounts, right?
Yeah.
You
Neither did
know,
I.
like imagine way back in the day when the population was a lot smaller, right? So, I mean, like these people, they would be held accountable like immediately. Like
In
there
the
was
town
tar and
square,
feathers
they'd
for
be
a
hung
fucking
already.
reason. You're gonna go and meet these people. You'll see these people in the pub or tavern or whatever, right? At the end of the day, you ride your horse or whatever there, right? And so like they're supposed to work for you. And if you found out they weren't working for you, like we would take them and tar and feather these fucks.
And
And now
they'd be,
now there's nothing you can't do that anymore.
Trudeau
Yeah,
would
you're
already
done.
be hung for
The
treason
government
a
has
long
grown
time ago.
so big that you cannot. That's not a thing anymore.
No, I know.
Paul, I think now would be a good chance to let everyone know that you are not a racist or an ist of any sort.
No.
No.
What would you call? I guess what would you call a Canadian now that's dealing with this shit? You'd be a nationalist, I guess.
Paul, no, it's just this. I get nervous when I hear tarred and feathered. Like,
That's what
Well,
they did, though.
That's
Because-
what they did back in the day.
no,
I
I know it
absolutely.
was. I know that it was, but I think that there's still the anyways. Blah blah blah.
Well, it's-
there's no
it's a
racial
lot better than-
anything.
it's a lot-
here ever.
It's a lot better than capital punishment.
No treason in the States. Yeah, they'd hang you. And I'm
Yeah,
sure they
you're done.
back in Britain it was the same thing as well.
Yeah,
Tar and
you're
feather. I
done.
mean, like I know what you're referring to, Aaron, and they did it to politicians, right? They did it to black people too. But that's not what I'm talking about.
No, I agree. I know that's not what you're talking about. I just don't want anyone to think or be confused. That's all. I'm just clarifying
all good.
that Paul is a smart guy that knows what he's talking about, or Mr. Pickles is a smart man that knows
Well-
what he's talking about.
Answer me this. Is Trudeau not guilty of treason already?
That's
I
a
think
good
any
question,
government
Patty.
that doesn't protect their people is guilty of treason.
That's what I figured.
And I think every Western government right now, the people in charge are treason.
Agreed.
Yep.
And back in the day, what was the penalty for treason?
Well,
Death
was
by
it? Yeah, I
hanging.
don't even know.
Death by hanging.
Right,
That's what I thought.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's
But I mean,
cool
that's how
it
you
down and just watch some more Canadian federal politics from the House of Commons, guys. It's getting hot in here.
Okay, like that's how you keep these
Getting
people honest,
on in
right?
here.
Like, how do you keep these people honest anymore? If there's, the most they're ever going to get for breaking like a ethics law is a $500 ticket.
It's
Like,
crossed
there's
my
no,
mind,
you
Paul.
can steal $600 million of our money and not give any of the names out. I mean, there's collusion with China, and it's documented in the NSCOP, and like we
I
still
don't
don't
get it either,
know.
Mr. Pickles. I don't get it either. I don't understand why nobody is accountable. They've broken almost every law there is going, and nothing's happening.
Bolsonaro's
that-
gonna get off the hook, guys. Like-
Remember that
like
the
nothing.
outrage? Remember the outrage over that $16 orange juice? That,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Way
You know
back.
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
exactly.
We're way past that now. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
That was Bev Oda.
And she resigned, correct?
and paid
And
it back. Yeah.
she paid the money back.
And resigned.
A whole $17.
Oh my God, I know. It's ridiculous.
Ooh.
But
Then you got
remember,
you got
it's
the-
Harper's fault. Come on now.
We're,
No, it's
we're,
still
It's all
Harper's
Harper's
fault.
fault.
we're gonna
Then you
bring
got
it
this
back,
dickhole,
guys. We're
like-
just gonna, Mr. Pickles. I don't mean to interrupt. We're gonna go back to just watching some regular politics so we can calm down.
Okay.
All right. Give me one moment, and we'll be right there. How do we do this?
A break from
How
our
do we do
sponsor.
this?
Yeah.
No.
I made this point. I made this
Here we
point
are.
yesterday
This is the right
during
spot.
question period as well, when the question was asked from the other side. The honourable member from South Shore, St. Margaret's.
After 9 years of NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, time is up, and conflict of interest is up at the Liberal Green Slush Fund. The Auditor General found that 82% of the transactions approved by Liberal insiders went to their own companies, totaling almost $400 million. This House demanded that the government turn over those documents to the RCMP, and this Prime Minister is refusing. How many more millions of misappropriated tax dollars is the Prime Minister hiding by refusing to turn over the documents?
Yes. The Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives don't want to share the uncomfortable truth that they are trying to use the extraordinary powers of this place to circumvent the judicial oversight that is required by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms to protect Canadians. The only thing they are interested in doing is pursuing their naked pursuit for partisan gain while they trample the charter rights of Canadians. Every Canadian citizen and resident should be extremely alarmed that instead of protecting their rights, they are looking for their own political gain. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Winnipeg Centre.
Mr. Speaker, since Orange Shirt Day, we've seen countless examples of residential school denialism, including from Conservative candidates in both New Brunswick and BC. And, Mr. Speaker, we know the leader of the Conservative Party supports this kind of rhetoric, having fundraised with residential school denying think tanks. Survivors have a right to be protected from hate speech. Will the government support my bill and protect survivors from residential school denialism once and for all?
The Honourable Minister for Crown Indigenous Relations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague from Winnipeg Centre for her work in bringing forward a bill that will recognize residential school denialism as a hate crime.
That's what he
I look
reminds
forward to
me
working
of.
with her, and we know that as we mark the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, this was a painful reminder that we need to do better to educate Canadians on the impacts of residential schools, as well as the hurtful acts of denialism that take place in many parts
Is
of the
that
country.
Randy or is that the other Randy?
The Honourable Member from Skeena, Bulkley Valley.
Mr. Speaker, it's been
Whoops. Here we go. So,
Sorry, I have to
right.
say. That's what that guy reminds me of, a friggin' Oompa Loompa. I don't know why. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I get comments on here all the time that crack me up, but not
Oh my
many.
God. Like I said, if you guys can
That
hear
hurt.
me whenever we're watching the show and we're not talking like this, trust me, my blood pressure just like I can't take the lying anymore and the nonsense coming out of their mouths.
See, like the foolishness is that I'm paranoid a little bit about just in my life is that people would take it as like I'm being racist, and
No.
I'm not. Ever
Nobody's
being
racist.
Like I loved all the races. Like there's somebody from each race I'm sure that I really like respect or appreciate, but there's also somebody from that race that I don't, because I don't care about race. It's not about that. Like it's just really funny to hear like Oompa
Just
Loompa
remember-
when I see Gary up there.
The Liberals said that if you don't agree with them, which we don't, we are racist.
oh, racist and
Remember?
misogynists.
That, yes, the
Oh,
Prime
look
Minister
at Mr.
himself
Pickles
called
is
us
being
that.
quiet over there. He must have something against women or children. Like,
You talking about me?
no,
Yeah,
no.
he
Well,
is.
if you have no comment, there's obviously like something up.
I mean, that little bit that you just heard, I could say a whole lot about that. I could say a lot about what we're made to to shut us up, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what this whole psyop is about. I don't believe any of us are racist. I know there's racists out there. But to have those as backstops, I guess, to shut people up is just ridiculous. If you're a Canadian, you're a Canadian. You know, if you're not, if you're coming here and you're bringing your shit with you, you're not a Canadian. You got no plan on being a Canadian.
No.
And I refuse to be replaced in my own country by another country.
Correct. Me either.
You know, like it's bullshit.
You're right.
And as far as your reconciliation day and all that stuff goes, I have no doubt that there's been, bad times for the Indigenous communities.
Yeah.
You can't argue any of that stuff, but where's the bodies, man? Like all these dead Indigenous mass graves, like, this is going back 3 years now. How come there's no evidence of that yet? Right? I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying this is such an outrage. So. Where is any of these? Where's any of the evidence?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I'm not saying it didn't happen either, but exactly where's the evidence?
The federal government has mistreated Indigenous people the most, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And, they can't even get clean water, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, how long has that been going on? How long?
I feel really bad for them. I feel like they got screwed the most by the government.
They did.
Oh,
they do.
For sure. Everybody
if it comes down to it, right? I mean, like, who are you going to have here fighting for our country? It's going to be the Indigenous. It's going to be us. And it'll come down to religion is what I'm saying. At the very end of things, it'll come down to religion.
Yeah.
As most wars.
Yeah.
Kirk, do you have a holy word to say? Just kidding.
Oh.
Do you know Antonio? Do you know Antonio from the chat? He always has a gospel song. Guy. Remember?
Yeah, the Psalms guy. Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's always dropping in with that. Guys, I'm going to try to pick up the video from where we left it. Give me a moment, and we'll see how smooth this is. Oh, Lord.
Oh, Lord God, help us all.
No, let's get into this. Because we left with Gary. We're picking up with Gary. Here we go.
The honourable member from Skeena, Bulkley Valley.
Mr. Speaker, it's been 3 years since the tugboat in Janika sank, killing Troy Pearson and Charlie Craig. And it's been 2 years and 3 transport ministers since this government promised strengthened marine personnel regulations to protect workers.
I kind of like Taylor Backrat. Like, I think that if any NDP were to cross the floor into Conservative, it would
be him.
Yeah, that's from what I've watched. Like,
didn't he retire? He's not running again.
No. That was another loser. He's gone. But Backrat's running again. I think.
Oh, he is.
I think.
I'm not sure. I thought it was him.
Anyways, back to it.
Like Troy and Charlie, and every single day, workers are going to see without the protections that this government promised. So to the minister, how can she justify continued delays when workers' lives are on the line?
You're here.
The Honourable President of the Treasury Board.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the honourable member for his question. Safety is always our top priority. When the transportation...
Yeah, you got to stop it on this one, eh?
Yeah, no, of course. I'm going to stop it before she even starts. Because before this, witch.
Hey, Aaron, you're just winding us up on purpose, aren't you?
I'm winding you up. I'm trying to.
You're going to get a bill.
I'm trying. Well, good. Send it along. The check is in the mail.
Yeah, all right.
Anita Anand, though. Like, there are some of the worst, and we've discussed already. It's a funny thing because this list just keeps expanding. Because I think, like, Karina Gould is the worst. Then I see Chrystia Freeland, and oh no, she's the worst. And then I see Anita Anand, and it makes me angry.
Fucking loser.
Is there any Liberal really that you can stomach?
Not in that
No.
cabinet, like not in that little dirty cupboard.
There's
Well,
not
that's
one
what I mean on that cabinet. I can't think of a single Liberal minister that I would give a nod to.
Me neither.
None of the ones that they let talk anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that's a question, Mr. Pickles, I thought about this afternoon. I was like, let's ask one of the cool panels this question.
There's not one Liberal I can stomach.
Who is your,
one.
least non-favorite Liberal? Like, who do you dislike?
Probably one of the
least?
backbenchers that
Do
don't
you have,
talk.
like, one that's, like, you're like, oh, I just wish they'd cross sides, or everybody's...
I haven't got anybody that comes to mind.
No.
Mr. Pickles,
What?
you must have somebody. I know you're thinking about it.
No, there's not one. But then
No.
again, like I said, you might find one, I suppose, that is a backbencher that you don't hear from.
That's
But
right.
the ones that you do, that we all know, yeah, everyone's pile.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Well,
thanks.
you guys might disagree with this, but I really think that, like, Randy Boss, he would fit in really well with the Conservative Party.
He's been trying to get on board for last year. He's been approaching the Conservatives for a spot. Unbelievable.
Who
Did you say Randy Boissonneau?
Kushi
you're-
dropped that.
Yeah, Kirk, he's trying to wind us up. Is exactly what he's doing.
Well, I'm trying to have some
Shit
fun.
server.
But Randy Bossino, like, oh my God, this liberal cabinet though, like,
No.
who could you take? You're gonna take Suds seriously?
No,
You're gonna take
none of them.
Sachs seriously? You're gonna take
No.
McKinnon seriously? You're gonna
No.
take Guibo seriously? Bossino?
No.
Like, the list goes so far on. Like, Laboltier, like Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, little Harry Potter woman, like,
No.
whew.
Not a chance.
That is a good question. I'd like to hear, like, if somebody out there, like, has one. That's
Yeah,
what
no,
I-
in the chat,
It's not
again,
bad.
Throw it in the chat.
the chat,
Throw it in the chat.
Sheila
I'm
and Darren
interested.
are busy, so this has been pretty much unmonitored. And I told them, I was like, if you want to curse out one of the monitors, now's a good chance. And that was an hour ago, I think.
An hour already? Wow.
I mean, like, I don't know what, and they're right. This is their third shuffle within the cabinet, you know, and she just fucks up everything she touches.
He fails
Never,
at every
never
job.
forget never forget that retard sent Canadian soldiers to the desert wearing green camo fatigues,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Absolutely wonderful. Can't
Yeah,
even
that's
afford a
stupid.
freaking uniform.
No kidding.
I just think she didn't even know. She didn't realize. Like, that bitch is dumb.
Oh,
Yep. Very much so.
where has
I think a lot of these liberals are missing life experience. They're all silver spoon. Maybe a few of them have actually got their hands dirty
No.
during their maybe teen years, but they're so far from reality.
They're
It's painful.
delusional, every one of them. They're living in la la land because when do any one of them ever talk to a Canadian that's not elite or worth millions and billions of dollars? Take your fucking, excuse my language,
no, that's
Kirby
fine.
Carney, and fucking do
You
whatever.
got any door knockers in your guys' neighborhood that come around campaigning?
No.
Mine here is conservative. I was hoping they would be because I'd say, yeah, come on in. I have some few things I'd like to say to you.
Yeah,
It's at
conservative.
your own risk.
But it's all
Conservative. Yeah.
conservative here, so they don't come knocking, as far as I know, anyway. But
Conservatives have
please
been.
do if you want to.
Conservatives have knocked on my door twice already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, you're in NDP country, though, are you not?
I think it's a conservative here. It's Tracy Gray.
Okay, you get
Yeah.
Trace Gray.
But I
yeah.
mean, so then, like, just driving around. I mean, we got a BC election happening here in 3 weeks, or the 19th, whatever date is.
Please
and,
tell me that Evie's not going to get in.
Oh, that dude! Oh, he's done, man. He's
good,
done.
good.
You had John Resta just spring out of nowhere or whatever, right? And then the Liberals in BC, they switched their name to BC United, and that wasn't received. So then they just dissolved the party.
I heard
Anyway,
that.
John Rustad came. There was no conservative campaigning, and John Rustad just came out of nowhere in 2 months, man. I mean, like, I don't even know the amount of damage the NDP has done to BC in 7 years. Like, you could be like a fucking retard, and you're still going to win over David Eby.
Good.
Yeah, but again, in the polls, they're like, "Oh, they're pretty close." No, they're not. And then you drive around and you see like these people. They put up their signs and shit. I mean, nobody's got them in their actual yard. Like, they're all in easements. These signs are all put up in easements, city-owned property, right? Nobody's putting an NDP sign in their yard.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have this piece to show, but if you saw this afternoon show, maybe you saw the polls across Canada outside of Quebec. The NDP are ahead of the Liberals.
Yeah, he's in fourth place.
Yeah.
You guys saw that piece, right?
My heart pumps piss for him. You know,
I saw in the poll that in Ontario, there's not one riding that the Liberals are ahead in.
You're right, Mr.
Like, it's looking like they're not, or outside of Toronto, the Greater Toronto area, there's not one riding they're going to win.
Okay, ask me that.
What do you guys think that means, though, for the next
Is there
election?
a chance that the Liberals could get absolutely no vote?
Well,
Like that?
the thing about that is, Patty, we need an election, which would segue in, I guess, to the next question, which would be like, is that going to be like a smooth process to get the next election by time when it's supposed to be on time? It's already a bill or something was pushed through that pushed it back a week, which does increase like
well, I heard on the news today
a bunch of their terms, like to be eligible.
I heard on the news today, the Bloc, they're done with whatever with the Liberals, and they're thinking about calling it like a November election for this year.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that at all. The Bloc
Me neither,
can go,
because
take a
they
walk.
need the NDP to vote too, don't they?
They don't have enough seats unless they get some NDP in there as well.
Yeah.
And Jughead ain't gonna vote.
No, the NDP I have no faith in. I have no faith in the Bloc. Like, they're like non-existent seats.
No, they're just like they got to the end of the week to give the Bloc what they want with their old age pensions.
Yeah.
So
Do you know how much money that is every year? It's billions.
It's billions. I heard that. Yeah, like
billions.
3 billion if Quebec gets what they want.
That's a good look, for the Bloc. Holding Canada hostage. Another party holding Canada hostage.
Yeah, why are they even in a federal party? Like, I don't get that. They're a province, just like Saskatchewan or anything else. Doesn't make any sense to me.
You've got, by just the polls, I mean, it looks like if it's a fair election and the polls are right, it's going to be just a blowout for the Conservatives, which is great. But that also means...
But the Bloc's going to be the opposition.
The opposition could be... Can you imagine doing this and having to listen to French every single day? No, thank you.
No.
But what I'm saying, if it is a blowout and it's a Conservative majority, this knight in shining armor that we have, Save Canada, the Poilievre, if he turns out to be that other head of that two-headed snake, like,
bad.
You know what I mean? Like, we're putting a lot of faith in this guy.
I know that.
So
I know,
it's a very interesting take about
he can't do much worse than what Trudeau's already done to Canada.
It could be, though.
That's the nature of the politics. So, like, if it's being run by globalists and funded by puppeteers, right? I mean, you're going to run two parties, and then you're gonna get sick of the one, and then you vote for the other one because you're sick of the other one. But if somebody's pulling the strings for the same parties, both parties, I mean, they're going to get what they want no matter what.
Yeah, no matter who gets in.
So we
certainly need somebody different than that moron.
My point is that I put a lot of faith in Polyev, and I trust what he says.
So
I can
do
tell
I.
he's Canadian, you know, like he's my age anyway. And I mean, I really truly hope, because if what he's telling us don't come through, like we're done, man. We're gonna be, you know, just like any other third world shithole countries, be Britain and stuff
I
that's
know.
turned into,
The
right?
only thing is, we have to all remember, and people need to remember this too. Give him the time that he needs. This dumpster fire isn't going to be fixed by November of next year.
A lot of it could be fixed pretty fast. Like
Yes.
a lot of things
Well,
could
tax
be
to tax
repealed.
is a major improvement right off the bat that
absolutely.
everybody
Like,
will
like
include.
smash, like hit the ground running. Like if he's gonna
Yeah.
do it, and again, I know how I'm gonna vote, which will be for Polyev and conservative
too.
in my rotting, but
Yeah,
there's a
yeah.
chance that, you
I
know,
don't know.
like what Mr. Pickles was saying, that it's out of our control already. Like,
I know.
not that he was saying that, but it's a possibility. And
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's true, right? I
if
mean,
he's
there's only
gonna
ever
act,
one.
he's gonna act as fast as he said he was gonna act, because he can. Like the legislation and laws are there to like turn around
that-
some decisions
Yeah, I
that
gotta-
have been made.
I got to look into that and see how quickly you can repeal laws. I think it's pretty quick,
I think it is too.
right? But you know,
I believe the very loose law is you can repeal anything from the last 4 years in your first 2 years.
You're probably right.
I'm not sure. I have
That's
to look
good.
into that.
If that's right. I don't know either.
Again, I'm
But if
not
that's
positive,
right, that's
but I
good.
did hear that today. I don't know if that's a fact.
I
or
hope
not,
that you're
but
right,
I did
Eric.
hear it,
Oh,
and
Scrap
if he
that
has
carbon
2
tax.
years to repeal the last 4, then
What really people, Canadians, really give a fuck about right now, right? They can't afford the groceries, they can't afford their
Yeah.
mortgage, right? They can't afford gas. There's too many immigrants in the country. I mean, those are all probably quick things to shut off and turn around.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then
Those are the
even-
top 4
and,
things.
and I would say free speech. That's
Absolutely.
probably the
free
biggest one.
speech
Yeah.
and the immigration should be like snap, like just
Done.
yeah. Should be a.
How we
quick
got to this
turn.
point, man.
I think that
Sorry, we're getting all heated again, Kirk. we're going to have to go back to a House of Commons video to relax us.
Yeah, go stick on the next fucking
Actually,
idiot and
Aaron,
see how we get wound up. Yeah.
This is the most relaxed I've ever been watching House of Commons. Usually I'm losing my mind, ready to punch the screen and
No, it's
everything.
because you have some people to share it with.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If somebody came in the house when I'm here by myself watching it, they think I belong in the fucking Royal Ottawa. Cause I get
so I'm gonna try to pick this up where Anita Anand. I think that's where we left
brother.
off.
Yeah,
I know
that's
she's
where we
brutal,
are.
guys, but
Eat a
she's got
banana.
this condescending way. Mr. Pickles, you just don't understand her.
Well, this is
You
it.
never really listen.
So put her back on. It's really gonna relax me.
Oh, I'm sure. Blood pressure is rising.
Oh my goodness.
There she is.
In Janica,
She's
we're
a
working
skank.
now to
Yeah, she
implement
is.
recommendations and strengthen safety measures. And we're working every step of the way with industry, with unions,
you are.
and with experts. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
From Winnipeg South Centre.
Right there.
Mr.
1,
Speaker,
2,
yesterday was
3,
International
4,
Wrongful
5 pieces of
Conviction
shit.
In grade 7, I wrote a paper on David Milgaard, a prairie kid who was in the wrong place at the
Red
wrong time.
gay.
The injustice of his case
I
was
can't
appalling.
even listen to
Immortalized
Ben
through the
Carr,
tragically hit
guys.
song Wheat
We're
Kings, it
just
captured
skipping
the
them.
attention of the nation.
Yeah,
Too many
go for
innocent
it.
people have suffered over the years. In fact, just today, again, in my hometown of Winnipeg, in our legal
Start with Clarence Woodhouse.
Yeah, okay.
My thoughts are with Clarence Woodhouse and the suffering
hold
he's
on,
endured
no,
unjustly for decades.
Honourable Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
I thank the member for his question, and I want to start with Clarence Woodhouse.
Veroni's
My thoughts are with
gross.
Clarence Woodhouse and the suffering he's endured unjustly
You need
for
a new rub
decades,
there, bud.
as long as recognizing the suffering of all of those who have endured an injustice. The bill that he's referencing, David and Joyce Milgard's law, will create real change. It will create an independent commission to review potential miscarriages of justice. It will revolutionize access to justice in Canada. To all innocent people who have been wrongfully convicted and whom are still awaiting justice, help is on the way. And to Clarence, I'm sorry for all of your suffering. Your story proves why we need to work harder for a better, fairer, and more equitable justice system for all.
The honourable member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes.
Carbon tax Carney took on a role as the de facto finance minister for the NDP Liberals, and almost immediately he got $2 million for his buddy who owns Telesat, and then he landed discussions for his trillion-dollar company Brookfield to get their hands on 10 billion Canadian pension dollars, and then he starts sending fundraising letters for these Liberals. After 9 years of these NDP Liberals, taxes are up, costs are up, crime is up, and time's up for their corruption. Will they simply cooperate with an investigation from the lobbying commissioner?
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, they continue to try to smear a Canadian who is recognized around the world for his work. I want to go back to their weird admiration of Alabama. Did you know that Alabama has the third lowest life expectancy in the United States? Did you know that the life expectancy in Alabama is a full decade lower than in Canada? Did you know that in Alabama they have some of the most restrictive rules around a woman getting access to abortion or contraceptives? Is that what they admire about Alabama? Is that why they're talking about upping Alabama's and saying that Alabama is better than Canada? I wonder why they're so interested in Alabama, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member from Leeds, Grenville, Thousand Islands, and Rideau Lakes.
Well, I know we've been hearing about unhinged responses today, and there's one. You can check the answer. There was nothing about Alabama in here, but you could see that from noted Liberal strategist and commentator Trevor Tombe, who did make that comparison. But when we are making comparisons, you can make many to banana republics and the corruption under this NDP Liberal government, with the Prime Minister twice found guilty himself of breaking ethics laws. This government is absolutely out of touch after 9 years. And now they've put in Mark Conflict of Interest Carney in charge of their economic policy. Why can't we just have a carbon tax election?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I understand why the member opposite's getting a little riled up, because there's some uncomfortable truths that are being put forward here. And while they continue to talk down Canadians and talk down our country, the bigger concern is what they're trying to do in this place, where they are overriding the charter rights of Canadians. Mr. Speaker, when it comes to privacy rights, and indeed when it comes to a woman's right to choose, what we know the first inclination of concern.
All right,
Okay,
gang. So
he's out of her mind.
So she makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, no kidding.
Kirk?
Not easy to listen to. I know what she's doing with the monotone, soft-spoken voice. She's trying to mimic Pee-Pee.
Yeah, she is. I
That's
was
the way
thinking the exact
he's
same
calm
thing.
and measured. But she's missing it. There's no personality to that voice. Pee-Pee has personality to his calm, cool, collected
And
voice.
whenever he's calm like that, they get really pissed off.
Well,
You
she's
notice
trying
that?
to do the same thing, but she's
Yeah, well, it's
failing
not working.
miserably. She sounds like a robot,
Yeah,
pre-programmed robot.
yeah.
Mr. Pickles? Anything
I don't like
on?
her.
No, you've said enough. Karina Gould.
I don't like her at all. Yeah, she sucks. I don't know what she's trying to do there or whatever. She should have just stayed on maternity leave, right?
Yep.
So I don't know. But going back to what you were saying before about do you know that there's? Can you name a Liberal where you wouldn't think so poorly of them? Yeah, I was thinking about that Conservative too when you were just showing that. I mean, all those ones in the background. Like I can't. Besides the ones that we hear from, I couldn't tell you one of them ones either.
Me neither.
You never hear from them.
No.
I can't remember who said it today in the chat. I think it was Scott Campbell or somebody. He called Paulie a brainy Smurf.
That's good. He's funny, man. Scott Campbell's funny.
I don't know. It just they're all. I mean, it's all I get out of the liberals. Everyone that open their mouth is just deception, just lying right to your face, and then that stupid bitch just smiles right at you while they're doing it.
Yeah.
And then the other side of the aisle, man, it's everything they say. It's, I mean, it hits home with the values that I have as a Canadian.
Me too.
So I just, you know, you hope for the best, I guess. Like, don't fuck us.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed. Please don't screw us too hard.
I hope not either. I really do.
And then, like, out of nowhere here, what do you got? You got Maxime Bernier. Like, I don't know if you guys are noticing he's coming up in your feeds more and more now, right?
Isn't he for that? He didn't he
People's Party of Canada.
Yes,
and
yes,
he's
yes.
a French dude. But I mean, he's got some interesting things to say. But my point about him is he was nowhere to be seen 3 weeks ago. Now he's popping up.
Yeah.
So watch out for him. He might start gaining popularity because, I mean, I don't know, man. If he advocates for like a Second Amendment here and self-defense laws and shit, I don't know. That might be enough to sway me too. Closing borders, he's talking about 100%. I love Poilievre, man, but he doesn't take a stand on the borders as strong as I want to hear him. I want to hear Poilievre say he's closing that shit down and getting rid of all these people that are fake here, you know, on fake pretenses.
Yeah.
You know international students and asylum seekers, right? Like, is there a war in Pakistan and in India right now? Like, how can you claim asylum if there's no war going on in your country? And then I found out, I was reading about it, they say they're homosexual. That's how they're getting their asylum claims validated.
Oh my God.
The challenge is, though, Paul, that it is a game. Like I'm never gonna tell somebody that, oh, politics is straight, right and wrong, black and white. Like,
it ain't.
It's such a dirty, corrupt game.
Yep.
That, like, by now, like, Bernier's rise recently makes me think that it's a liberal funded effort.
Yeah, I don't know. I
You understand what I mean, though? Like, they're doing anything they can to take any wind out of conservative favoritism. And
well, I mean, vote splitting is what it would be.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
Like I said, I mean, I don't know. I want to hear stronger positions from Poilievre on certain things, and I understand why he's not addressing them. I want to believe that he feels like us. He sees the damage that's happening in Canada because of open borders. I mean, call it what it is. That's what it is. It's an open border, just like in the States.
Yeah.
I want to hear Poilievre say he's going to shut that shit down, but he doesn't want to piss off all these permanent residents, Canadian citizens that we're going to vote, that maybe vote for him. Because if you start saying that shit, I mean, those people, you're going to lose the vote, right?
Yeah.
Dirty game. Like,
I think he may say it closer to the election.
He drops some hints and stuff, and like it's only like 2 weeks ago we actually started like bringing it up.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, it's posturing is what it is, and I mean, I don't know. We all know what the problems are in Canada here, and I just wish that he could take a stronger position on it.
Oh no,
because we're all waiting. I know I'm waiting to hear him say it.
Me too.
Yep.
But I think he's waiting till closer to the election, because every time he does say something, they steal his idea and take credit for it.
Each one of those people is a potential vote, and they're all swingable. So he's got to be very, very careful how he tiptoes through the tulips.
That's why he's saying that, right? I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think he's going to shut the borders. That's what I think.
You know, I just you import all these people, and what's the mindset behind it? You're ballooning up our numbers, fake GDP and stuff, and it's not per capita. You're doing it with all these immigrants that you've landed here.
Manipulating numbers. It's
manipulating numbers, and then, right, I mean, we were talking about it last time. So if you come here from a third world shithole, even though your quality of life in Canada isn't what, say, we remember it to be, it's still much better than shit hut you came from over in wherever, some shithole country. So if these people are, if they're bringing these people here, they're going to remember who brought them here. You know, like why wouldn't you vote Liberal? It's going to keep the gate open. And you're going to keep bringing more of your friends and family and shit over. Like, I don't know.
All right. before we go, guys, we're going to show one last piece from question period today. This one is Rempel Garner, a couple of rounds. What do you think of Rempel Garner? Because, like, I've heard she's WEF. She's, like, not really a conservative. She doesn't get along with Pierre Poilievre, whatever. She seems to get a lot of floor time on the House Commons floor. For somebody that the leader does not like. What do you think?
I didn't know that.
Any opinions, Patty?
I don't know much about her. Like, anything I've seen was positive. Like, I watched her when they kicked Pierre out for calling Dickhead a wacko. She was, like, right on the money about that. But, like, I don't know much about her. Yep. So I can't really make an opinion, you know?
Do you know, do Kirk or Paul, do you guys know much about Rempel Garner?
I've heard the rumors of suggestions of WEF. I haven't seen any proof in the pudding, like her name on a page anywhere.
Yeah, I heard that too. I did, Kirk.
But,
you're reading that shit somewhere. Where did you hear it?
Where did I
go on the WEF, and they have all their trustees and members, like, listed.
Yeah,
I didn't see her on there. I went and looked. Right, they say the same shit about Poilievre, right? He's WEF too. So if he's WEF, how come he's saying that nobody in his cabinet is going to be able to have anything to do with the WEF?
Exactly.
Like, it makes no sense. It's misinformation as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Michelle Garner, I actually watch her. She has a channel on YouTube also, and she does these sort of Michael Barrett, Cooper stuff, and I get to see that.
We'll promote her site right now. Like, I love her videos on YouTube. I find them entertaining, whether I know that it's all true or not. I kind of side with her being true. Sorry, Paul, not to interrupt, but I think you were making the point that I wanted to make.
Yep, exactly. She's a good fit with that Conservative Party. And I don't know. I mean, like, I like to hear what she has to say, and
I've heard nothing but positive from her too, so I can't say.
Every time I see her, though, I just can't not think like that is one giant fucking head.
She holds the camera. She holds the camera too close, or something. Like,
it was side by side with her cabinet or whatever it is, as big as the cabinet behind her. But even in like in the House of Commons, if she's got her hair up, man, I'm just like, holy fuck.
Right. So we're gonna watch this last piece with Rempel Garner, and then sum it up, and then we'll see what we do after that. Where is she too? I do like Barrett, though.
Me too. Oh, sit down.
I know. She's the worst. Here we go.
Calgary, Nose Hill.
A $1 trillion everything corporation that's currently asking for billions of tax dollars recently faced shareholder calls for transparency after a scathing report raised questions about whether Brookfield engages in tax avoidance strategies when it comes to paying Canadian tax. The Liberals just appointed Brookfield's board chair, carbon tax promoting Mr. Carney, to craft Canada's economic policy. The Liberals won't say if they cleared this with the lobbying commissioner. Are the concerns Brookfield shareholders had about tax transparency the reason why?
The Honourable Leader of the Government in the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, this is another typical attack from the Conservatives against Canadians who do not support their vision for Canada. We have seen this over the last 9 years, that when Canadians, and it's, I guess, hurtful for them when it's people they appointed to important positions that come forward and don't actually agree with their vision of Canada, what do? They attack them. They bring them down. They are not open to debate or to criticism, and their only inclination is to attack fellow Canadians.
The Honourable Member from Calgary, Nose Hill.
This is, Mr. Speaker, as another typical Liberal scandal. The Conflict of Interest Act prohibits ministers from furthering interests of their friends, which is why the Act requires ministers to declare close friendships with people who lobby. The Finance Minister has frequently mentioned her close personal friendship with the chair of Brookfield, and who now holds a senior Liberal economic advisory position. In describing her relationship with the carbon tax promoting Mr. Carney, the minister said things like, "Truly, Mark is a personal friend of mine, very long-standing. I speak with Mark often, and he's the godfather of my son." Has the minister declared her friendship with the world's...
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, again, this is just a simple personal attack because the Conservatives are sad or disappointed that there are eminent Canadians that don't support their dangerous vision of Canada, to be honest. There's a reason why Canadians who have global recognition are working to support a progressive vision of this country. But what we see from the Conservatives is that when Canadians or organizations don't support them, all they do is attack.
Whoops. So,
I like her.
Gould sucks the life right out of me.
Yep.
I do like Rempel.
I like Rempel too.
I do too.
She speaks well.
Well, in the comments right there, and it doesn't happen very often, you guys know this, that we try to go light in the comments. I hit a user based on their very first comment.
No. What they said?
Do tell.
WF skank promoted, like tried to back it with information that I know they can't back up because like they heard that and they come on here, shoot off their
Were they talking about Gould or Rempel?
Rempel.
Yeah.
Like, and again, I'm not so defensive of Rempel, but try to prove anything. If you think you know something about her, try to prove it, because I've tried to prove it to myself. Like, and have gone looking. She's on no lists.
No, you won't find much.
No, I've looked because I was curious. Like, how could that conundrum exist? You can't find it out. But what I did find out when I was looking then is that Schwab puts out these misinformation papers with these lists of people on them that are running for whatever, that aren't a part of his organization, just trying to... Do you understand what I mean? He puts out press releases saying that these are part of my company, and they're not. But then once that goes into the internet, it's always going to be there. I just don't trust the WF, and I see it as bigger than any given country. It's bigger than my little channel. I'll never get shown a video or have one broadcasted again because I just said that. They might be watching, like, or listening, like.
When a bunch of unelected billionaires from around the world trying to dictate what happens in the democracies of the Western world.
That's right.
It's a war without the bullets and guns. It's a war without the bullets and guns. They're trying to do it bloodlessly.
It's a bully battle. It's a bully battle.
Back
they
to,
made all the money. They made all the money. They have all the money. Like 1%.
So then how much money is enough money?
1% of the population has all the money.
How much money is enough money? If these people already got all the money. You know, like.
I think though, I think about that, Paul, like once, or Mr. Pickles, once you run out of like being able to gain money, you turn it into manipulating that money into control.
Yeah, of course. So then you'll go back to.
So how much control can you have? That's abstract. Like
it becomes so then when it switches into like a sadistic sort of game to these people, right? Ruling class and the rest. But I mean, you're going to go back. I mean, how confident and pompous do you have to be to stand up there and say that you've penetrated the cabinets, the government cabinets in the Western world? I mean, by this, you know, just to say that, it's already you're past the point of no return, and that's exactly where we're at. Because look what's happening to all of our countries.
Yeah.
You know, like fucking Keir Starmer won with 34% of the vote.
Do you
Like,
pay
it was-
attention to international politics, Kirk? Like anything else internationally? Like, have you heard about
Oh,
Ireland
I'm watching our brothers to the south real close. That's some pretty nasty stuff going on down south as well. What goes on down there directly affects us up here a little while.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to know what's cooking down south. So yeah, I follow a little bit of American politics.
No, I do too. Patty, what about you? Do you?
Not really. I don't actually. I only see Trump stuff about him a little wee bit, but I don't really follow it much.
It's just
Until-
like nerve-wracking to see, Mr. Pickles, what is happening internationally, because it would seem that the for lack of better terms, like the G7 democracies are all being affected by some kind of virus. Like,
You're under attack. They're all, I'll save you the trouble of looking. Everything that's happening here is happening in every Western free country at the same time. They're trying to restrict free speech. They're putting in carbon taxes. They're making more control
we can't
on
say
people.
that on here, Paul. We can't say that.
100%.
I'm gonna get another strike. Like,
It's okay. Well, they have to find it first, right?
I'm
You got it. You're on the Irish. They're going in the right direction.
Yeah. God bless the Irishman.
Yeah.
And then
absolutely.
you see these other countries here, like you know, so they call us far right and stuff, and it doesn't really land, I suppose, as badly as it would when they call like a political party in Germany far right. Like, so Austria, they just had an election the other day, and then like their right party, right AFD, I think it was, they won the election, and they're shutting the border and they're deporting people. And then last month it was Eastern Germany, they had an election, and then again it was a right party that won. Well, what do they come out and say in the news? First time a far right party's won in Germany since Hitler. Like, what type of shit is that to say?
Really.
We're so far right, eh? Like, this is how the media spins it.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Ireland, shooting down that hate speech law bill or whatever, right on.
Yeah, that was a big.
The citizens
a big
policing their own country, right on.
Yeah, big W.
You know, you get this cop shot in the stomach yesterday in Toronto or whatever, and like, it's just like water off a duck's back here. It's no big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal. You got these people protesting in the streets, waving terrorist flags and chanting for genocide, and nothing gets done about it. That is a big deal. Why is it allowed? You say one thing about one of these people, man, like out in one of those rallies, and guess who's getting locked up?
Oh, you're gone.
Yeah. That is a big deal. You got all these laws protecting everybody else but us.
I know. Scary, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's terrifying.
Hey.
all right, gang, we're gonna wrap it up right there. We are gonna cut it off very quickly. I don't know why, but no, you guys were so much fun. Patty, thank you for joining us.
I loved it. Anytime.
This is so much fun. I mean to just say we're cutting off Mr. Pickles. He's out of here. Out of here.
That's true though. Whatever. It's true.
No, we're not cutting you off, Mr. Pickles. It's been a pleasure, guys. We are going to wrap up. I don't know what else to do. I don't have any more footage to show. So
it works for me. I got a did.
I think I've had a great time. Like,
me too.
And I haven't had a chance to watch the chat very much. I hope some people in the chat had a good time. Like,
I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Share, and subscribe. I always forget, Kirk.
Yeah.
Is the House of Commons on early tomorrow? Like, are they at 1 o'clock or it's
2 hours early.
It's 12:30 Atlantic Standard Time, so I think that's 11:30.
Okay. I'll
EST.
keep checking. I'll keep checking because I know I can go on now that I have it. I'm back up and running.
No, we're ready to go, Patty. Thank you for joining the crew.
It's great. Thank you for
Mr.
inviting
Pickles.
me.
The other goof is Captain Kirk, and I'm I guess the third goof, and you're the fourth. So like,
Well, you
thank
kept
you.
my blood from boiling today, so that's good.
Yeah, we gotta have some fun with it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's gonna be that way. These are the days of our lives.
Of our lives.
Yep, definitely.
All right, guys, I'm gonna just hang up on you and play an extra. We're out.
Have a good night,
All right.
folks.
Yeah, you guys too.
Bye.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
That's the crew gang. So we're gonna just go out on this.
I don't want to be negative, but I don't think anything's ever going to get better ever again.
Oh, hello. Do you have a warrant to be here?
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
Wiggle and squirm as you might, it is really hard to put lipstick on a pig.
When I'm Prime Minister, I will keep my promises.
WTF.
Here.
I know this place is where I am. No other place is better. No matter where I go, I am proud to be Canadian. I am, you know I am. The worst that works. I am Canadian. You know I am. I am Canadian. Come on! I love this country where I am. This land is where I make my stand.
The one we call Canadian.
Gentlemen, beam me aboard.
You should do exercises. That's important to our good health. And friends, tomorrow we are going to be visiting with a fisherman who will tell us about his very enjoyable hobby. Now, I would like to see you all through our magic mirror. Romper bumper, stomper boo, tell me, do. Magic mirror, please tell me today, did all of my friends have fun at play? I see all...
Chair, now open up to questions. Thank you, Minister. We'll start the first round off with Mr. Soroka for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'll be sharing about the last 2 minutes with MP Mazur. Minister Guilbeault called the wildfire in Jasper a success. A third of the town was destroyed, thousands are homeless, and nearly $1 billion in damage. Did his failure to implement proper mitigation go against your job to prepare for this emergency?
So what I can tell you is when I visited Jasper, the command center, and the town itself, alongside with the mayor, the premier, and our ministers, and especially Minister Ellis, the briefing that we got, if it wasn't for the preparation that Jasper had taken, the Fire Smart program that was conducted, more importantly, the training and the coordinated training that all the different agencies had done, I think just a few months prior, that led to not only saving the town, but making sure that the evacuation was very successful and done quickly.
Okay. The wildfire in Jasper was a disaster waiting to happen, with experts and officials raising alarms for over 8 years. When were you first informed, either by Minister Guilbeault or any other member of the Liberal government, that Jasper was a tinderbox ready to ignite? When and by whom?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't agree with that assessment. When you look at across the country, British Columbia, Alberta, the forecast that we were seeing with the extreme heat, there were many parts of the country that we know, because of the extreme heat, is prone to wildfires. When did I first know of the wildfire that took place? It was just actually, I believe, a few days before that the evacuation took place. When we were informed, well, one thing we always make sure through the Government Operations Center to making sure that all the resources are in place and do they have all that was needed, and everything that we were told at that time, additional resources were being moved in and that things were being held at that time until those gusts of wind that I was talking about that made the situation extremely worse, that they have never happened apparently in Jasper before.
But Minister, I think you're forgetting the fact that, you know, the mountain pine beetle, there was a lot of dead trees. I'm not saying there wasn't fire smarting in town.
Mm-hmm.
The problem came is the fire smarting wasn't done further back, like a mile or 2 miles. That's where the problem was. You had huge amounts of fuel sitting there, essentially dead trees that could ignite at any time. And yes, once that got fire started there, the problem was you were not going to stop it. That's our point, is why was those trees not removed? When and how were you informed that there should have been more done?
So as the Minister of Emergency Preparedness, my job is to look at responding to the emergency. What I'll tell you, what I was briefed upon when I was on the ground, I'll let Parks Canada and others explain further if they need to on this. When I was briefed is the fire smarting that actually took place, the wall of flame that was reported. If it wasn't for the fire smarting that was done, the wall of flame would have kept going. They actually would stop. It was because of those winds that had never taken place before, that 100 kilometers per hour, that gusted up to 150 kilometers per hour, that launched those pine cones that were on fire and branches into the town, that actually set the town on fire. But for everything that we were briefed on, that if it wasn't for the preparation that had taken place, that the situation would have been much worse.
Okay, I won't get into the severe winds in mountain areas, but I'll pass it on to MP Mazer.
Thank you. Minister, you're responsible for emergency preparedness. Do you agree with prescribed burns help prevent wildfires? Yes or no?
First, I'm not the expert on how to deal with that. That the experts would have to look at, because I have seen where certain places...
Minister, the question was pretty straightforward. Do you agree that prescribed burns help prevent wildfires? Yes or no?
It all depends on which area. Each expert, for example, in the Yukon...
Minister, I'll tell you, they do actually help.
Hey gang, just Aaron right here. Sorry, we've been doing a pretty fun show. We're rolling into this interesting committee that happened today. We're gonna keep on rolling with that. Welcome to everybody.
So, Minister, documents obtained by suggest that Minister Guilbeault's department was working against your mandate. A senior official of Parks Canada wrote in an email months before the Jasper wildfires, and I quote, "At what point do we make the organizational decision to cancel prescribed burns in Western Canada?" Then the official stated, and I quote, "Political perception may become more important than actual prescription windows." Minister, newly obtained emails now reveal that this discussion was so alarming, the Executive Director of Conservation replied, begging Parks Canada to put forest management above politics, and I quote, "I hope we don't get into a blanket shutdown," she said. Quote, "It is critical to continue those kind of burns. It is how they maintain the community fuel break, and when they fall behind, it is very difficult to catch up," end quote. So, Minister, when were you first informed that Minister Guilbeault's department was discussing cancelling prescribed burns because of political optics?
First of all, I think those questions were answered already earlier.
Je crois qu'on a déjà répondu à ces questions. Je vous posais la question à vous.
Minister, any opportunity to respond to his question.
I'm sensitive to the badgering of witnesses. I don't think it's really that severe in Mr. Mazer's case. Go ahead. Oui.
Je crois qu'il y a un petit problème dans la traduction.
OK, est-ce que vous comprenez? Est-ce qu'on entend? C'est bon? OK, alors, Monsieur Mazer, continuez, là, mais donnez la chance.
Please continue. Please continue.
I'll ask you again, Minister. When were you first informed that Minister Guilbeault's department was discussing cancelling prescribed burns because of political optics?
I can only tell you what I have been briefed on when I visited Jasper. I
So
deal with the emergency
were you aware?
response. I don't get into what takes place in each community across the country.
Were you aware?
We look at responding. No, I wasn't.
Thank you. How much time?
15 seconds. 10 seconds.
I'm good. Thank
Okay, Madam Taylor-Roy.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the Minister and the officials for being here again. Last meeting, we heard about the heroic efforts and the amount of coordination that was done. And we also heard from Mr. Landon, who was on the ground in Jasper. So you talked a lot about the collaboration and coordination. We heard about that last week as well. We also heard that the Alberta government had decided to reduce their firefighting budget by $30 million. Was that ever discussed, and did that have an impact? Because we heard that certain types of equipment weren't available that were there, and was there ever a conversation about the need to keep the budgets for firefighting increasing rather than decreasing?
What I can say that when it comes to Jasper or Alberta actually collaborates really well when it comes to not only wildfires but emergency management. In fact, actually, it's one of the things in emergency preparedness or especially when emergency is called. I've never had to deal with any partisan issues, right? We deal with the emergency, work very closely together. I would have to say that my closest relationship is actually with Minister Ellis.
Right.
And that's why one of the reasons why when we were informed what was taking place, I decided to go to Edmonton and work with Minister Ellis and coordinate our resources directly. They made all resources available as quickly as possible, and I want to commend them for their efforts. The Premier was with us when we got the briefing, and I would have to say the briefing that we got, the preparation and the work that was done, it was actually far greater than any other place I've actually have witnessed. If it wasn't for the fire smarting, if it wasn't for the preparation, the training, the entire town could have been lost. They went into when I arrived, and the interesting part was it was Parks Canada folks. They had Canada Task Force 2 from Calgary that was there, and also Alberta Fire working very closely. Very direct questions were actually asked. In fact, everybody talked about how well not only the preparation was taking place, but I would say some members were talking about how they need to look at utilizing this in other parts of the province and even across the country.
Yeah. Thank you. That's fantastic to hear that collaboration was there and everyone worked so smoothly. I'm wondering, there was talk of certain equipment like water bombers not being available. I guess they're called water bombers or air tanker groups from either Alberta or British Columbia at that time. Would that have made a difference if they had been there given the nature of the fire?
No, in fact, actually, water bombers were made available, and Derek, I think you can more. Derek runs the Government Operations Center, provide more details. Okay. Water bombers actually were made available, but when we and everybody looks at it as why weren't they used? It's the incident commander on the ground has to take a look at when it's safe to do so. And when we visited, they clearly showed there was it would have been absolutely dangerous for them to be able to use the water bombers at that time. Helicopters that had night vision capability were also made available as well. But it's incident commander on the ground that has to make the decision. But Derek, if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, Derek Traherne, Government Operations Center. So the Minister is correct. I mean, those decisions are made by the incident commander, and there was a unified command that was sort of set up there with the municipality and the province and parks as well. So they make those calls. There were no shortages of water bombers or equipment across the country this summer. We had a very significant fire season, which I'm happy to speak to at length, but there were no major gaps in availability of either firefighters or equipment. And we saw fires across the country starting in the east and moving west, and then the west and obviously got 60-70% of the fires this year. But Alberta, Saskatchewan, BC, and others are some of the strongest emergency management agencies in the country and have significant assets at their disposal. So that's decisions that are made on the ground, but we never saw any shortages during the season.
And just one quick last question. On the question of the prescribed versus mechanical clearing, because I think that was the decision that was being discussed by the Minister of the Environment. I know everybody who was fighting or preparing lived in Jasper in the area. Would they have been involved in making those decisions about whether, I understand 1,700 hectares was cleared to do more and whether it would be done through burns given the heat or would it be done through mechanical clearing? Who would have made those decisions?
For example, our focus was on the emergencies, making sure that the resources were there. Obviously, Parks Canada can explain, but I can tell you what the briefing that all of us received when we were on the ground. And especially what I looked at was also from Alberta Wildfire Service. They too were also there. And the preparation that was made was actually quite extensive, and that the situation would have been worse. And when it comes to managing of fire smarting, those are decisions that have to be made by community and what is the best way. I'll give you an example. Yes, controlled burns are done, but at the same time, in the Yukon, they've also have, through their preparation, they've actually mechanically have moved it and turned it into more of an economic opportunity. So each community has to decide how they want to do it. But let's not forget, the vegetation and what needs to grow and how it needs to be done is also dependent on each area across the country as well.
Merci, Madame.
Thank you very much, Ms. Taylor-Roy. Madame Posé. Thank you very much for being here with us today. It is very important.
Smarting that has for all those things learned.
Of BC, like in Alberta, Jasper, emergency.
And this has been the worst 5 years in emergency management.
Thank you. I have to stop you there, unfortunately. We'll go to Ms. Collins. Maybe Ms. Collins will let Mr. Treherne finish. I don't know. It's up to her. No pressure.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to start with the Minister. And we are in a climate emergency, and the Jasper fires highlight how this crisis is impacting everything that we hold dear. I have formative memories of my time in Jasper, visiting friends. We're working in tourism and hospitality there, hiking, just in complete awe of the beauty and the power of that place. And these events are happening more frequently. They're going to get more severe. The area burned in 2023 was more than 6 times the historical average. New Democrats have been calling for the establishment of a national firefighting force to deal with future wildfire emergencies. And in my province of BC, like in Alberta, we are dealing with multi-year droughts, which make wildfires even more likely. We wrote to you calling for a $1 billion watershed security fund. These two policies could protect watersheds, prevent disasters, tackle wildfires, and I'm curious why your government hasn't implemented them.
First of all, you're absolutely right. We do need to do more. It's how we do it and making sure that it's the appropriate action that we take. Because every single year we have been dealing with an increased severity, of wildfires, but also other emergencies. So first and foremost, what we wanted to do, the structure across Canada, how we manage emergencies is based on majority of the resources, or it's managed through the provinces and territories. Then we as a federal government provide additional resources if resources have been exhausted. So the first thing what we've done here is adding additional firefighters, training of 1,000 firefighters, and also, what do you call them, supervisors? I forget the ones that actually command teams. The instant command. And the reason I say this is, so first and foremost, what we want to do is making sure that their additional resources are going can be utilized immediately. The second piece of it is we are looking at options at the federal level of what we need to do, but we want to make sure that it actually complements the work that's going to be happening on the ground, and that work is ongoing.
Minister, Minister, I think that given the urgency and the scale of the crisis that we face, kind of a wait and see attitude when it comes to addressing wildfire emergencies, implementing a national firefighting force, and protecting our watersheds is short-sighted. But I do want to ask you, over the past year, the residents of Fort Chipewyan have been raising the alarm that they still do not have a working dock or a way to safely escape the community in the case of a wildfire. And then today, the Athabasca Chipewyan, the Mikisew, and the Fort Chipewyan Métis Nations released a really shocking statement that they were shocked to learn that your government concealed the existence of a federally contaminated site around that dock. The Transport Canada dock, known locally as the Big Dock, is used to hunt, to trap. Local children learn to swim there. It is incredibly shocking and appalling that that information, that there was a contaminated site there, from 2017 was hidden from this community. And I'm wondering if you can speak to that and also speak to the fact that they need a way to escape if there's a wildfire.
Just to address your first question there, I just want to let you know we're not waiting. We're actually working with the provinces to making sure that the resources are there. To your other point that you have,
you've only got a
to your other point you raised is one is we work very closely with the other departments, especially Indigenous Services, on this. I'm not aware of the dog situation. Our team will take a look at it and see if our department has any the role that we need to play. But we will work with and if we can get more information on this and get back to you.
Well, just.
We're going to wrap it up right there, guys. There are so many committee videos. Check out Pearl View. Like, that's an interesting channel. Pearl View. Like, as I just said it. That is it. We're going to wrap up. Thank you so much to my guests tonight, Mr. Pickles, Patty Zadow, Patty, and my man, Captain Kirk. We're out. Beam me up, Scotty. We got to go. We're out. We are out. Find the stream.
I don't want to be negative, but I don't think anything's ever going to get better ever again.
Oh, hello. Do you have a warrant to be here?
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
Wiggle and squirm as you might, it is really hard to put lipstick on a pig.
When I'm Prime Minister, I will keep my promises.
WTF.
I know this place is where I am. No other place is better.
The one we call Canadian.
Gentlemen, beam me aboard.
The Notebook with Barbara Plum.
Good evening. Tonight, an in-depth look at the French word dormir. What does the word dormir really mean? For a look at dormir, we go live to a hotel room in downtown Montreal, where our French correspondent, Louis Laloutre, has this special report. Louis Laloutre, nice to have you with us tonight. Louis, we're standing by for your special report on the word dormir. Louis, Monsieur Loutre, are you there?
What? Hey, where am I?
I'm Barbara Plum, and you're on The Notebook. You were supposed to give us a special report on the word dormir. Remember?
Dormir. Oh, oui. Well, in that case, I can stay in bed.
But what about your report?
Well, no problem, Barbara. You see, dormir means to sleep. Ah, et moi, je m'endors beaucoup. Bonne nuit, Barbara.
Dormir. To sleep. For the Notebook, I'm Barbara Plum. Good night.
You should do exercises. That's important to our good health. And friends, tomorrow we are going to be visiting with a fisherman who will tell us about his very enjoyable hobby. Now, I would like to see you all through our magic mirror. Romper bumper, stomper boo, tell me, do. Magic mirror, please tell me today, did all of my friends have fun at play? I see all of my friends in Alberta. It's nice to see you. And I see Dan and Vivian. I see Marlon and Mona. I see Catherine and Harley. I see Anne and Elizabeth and Jane. I see Bert and Nicole, and I see you too. I hope to see you tomorrow, right here in Romper Room.
Ding dong, knock, knock, hey, daddy, do. Bing bong, tick tock, bebop, boom.
Kick off your weekend with exciting CFL action when the Edmonton Eskimos tackle the BC Lions in Vancouver. Tomorrow night at 10:30 on CFTO TV.
Ding dong, knock, knock, hey, daddy, do. Tip tap, pitter pat, granny cat too. Rooty toot, kimble, loopy loo. Boppity stoppity, romper room. Romper room and friends.
It's time for a change in this country, my friends. A real change.
WTF.
Here, here.